Welcome, everyone, to the VT Effect podcast series. The VT Effect connects you with people who are passionate about their work. The VT Effect is a brief immersion into the daily lives of captivating individuals who chose vocational training to realize their career paths. The VT Effect, otherwise known as Effet, was made possible through the collaboration of 9 vocational training centers of the Estrie region in the Eastern Townships. My name is Holly Bailey, and it is with great pleasure that I present you with Season 1 of the VT Effect. Come discover exceptional women who chose vocational training to integrate into trades predominantly held by men. Let's get started and meet Roxane Pépin. Hi, Roxane.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
This is really cool. So I heard you're fresh out of high school.
Yep.
How old are you?
17.
Okay. And where did you go to high school?
Richmond Regional High School.
So not too far away. Here we are at Lennoxville Vocational Training Center. So you've stayed in the townships, you finished your high school, and here you are in a trade program. How did you come across this program?
Well, this specific program was mentioned to me by a teacher at my old school.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that I wanted to do something in the trades because my dad always taught me that type of stuff. And I wanted to be a mechanic at first, but I realized that it wasn't for me, so I switched to welding, and then I found this school and I started my program.
And it all just lined up for you?
Yep.
And that's amazing to find something that you're so interested in fresh out of high school, because it's daunting. There's so many choices and options.
And also, I knew that if I stopped going to school to work for a bit, I would probably not want to go back to school. So
Right.
It was fun to find something really quick, and it's also a quick program, so I'm going to be going to work soon enough.
Okay.
So that was interesting to me.
So you find this program, and you knew yourself quite a bit, it sounds like. You were not looking for something as academic, you were looking for something more combo and hands-on.
For me, learning, I like learning,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while I just get distracted. Sitting in a class all day is not for me, and taking 20 pages of notes every day is not for me. I prefer actually working. So I think I get that.
hands-on.
Yeah, I think I get that from my dad.
Okay. So how does a day as a student here in the welding fitting program compare to, say, high school or traditional studies?
Well, every day kind of changes. Sometimes we spend the morning in the class, sometimes we spend the afternoon in the class, sometimes we don't spend any time in the class at all. It really depends on how the teachers are feeling and what we need to get done. But also, when we come back from break time, we usually just sit in the classroom for a couple minutes and just talk about whatever with the teachers, which is really interesting, I find, because it's a good way to not be stressed about the program.
So you feel like you're respected, you're not quite an adult, but you're in an adult program.
Yeah, they treat us like we're adults, and they also treat us like we're normal people. You know what you should be doing. If you're not going to do it, that's your problem, not mine.
It sounds like you're taking responsibility for your own success.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. And I think that's important in life. I mean, in the future, you're responsible for your own work at wherever you're working, so I think that's an important skill to have.
That's amazing, yeah. And it sounds like they're fostering that in you.
Yeah.
Because you're here because you want to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's empowering.
Yeah.
You're listening to the VT Effect podcast series, and that is Roxane Pépin, welding student at the Lennoxville Vocational Training Center. She's breaking the mold and really forging an amazing career path for herself. Let's get back to Roxane and see what it's like, the life of a woman in welding. Okay, so we're in a trade, welding and fitting. It's typically a male trade. How did you feel coming into it as a woman, as a female?
I mean, I was stressed out at first, but not necessarily because it was mostly guys. It was a new school, new environment. I didn't know how it was going to go. I wasn't really worried about the guys being there. I was just more worried as if there would at least be one other girl I could talk to, because in general I have quite a bit of fun with the guys, and I'm able to talk to them and joke around with them, and it's fun.
Perfect. And are there any other girls in your class?
Yeah, we're 3 girls in this class, and then there's 2 girls in a different program that has to do with welding. So.
And I think people get this idea in their head, what a welder looks like, this and that. Can you describe yourself? Because you told me that people are sometimes shocked when you tell them that you're in welding.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm 5'3". I'm like 118 pounds. I'm not very big. I'm not very muscly. So people kind of expect me to just want to sit at a desk all day. But I like being hands-on. I like being able to work with stuff in my actual hands. And like sometimes it can actually be useful because if somebody needs to go weld in a tight spot, the smaller person is going to be more important. Mm-hmm. And also, like, as a girl, I have more dexterity than most guys. So for, like, TIG welding, that's really handy because you need, like, both hands and your foot. So it's, like, it really plays with your mind, and, like, you have to have, like, good dexterity and stuff.
Wow. You've got some really cool insight. Now tell me, you mentioned a term there, a type of welding. Can you describe the skills you're learning or that type of practice of welding?
Well, every like type of welding is different pretty much. So like TIG welding, you need both hands because you have like a filler and you have a torch, and you also need a pedal for your gas. You need to be more into it, like more focused. But there's other ones where you just hold the torch in your hand and you just go right at it. Then there's other types of welding that it's like a mix of both. You need to spend more time on it, but it's easier than TIG. So it really depends what you want to do. But here they teach us all those skills we need, and you kind of get to pick what you want to go with your future. So
okay,
I think that that's pretty interesting.
And welding applies to so many different industries and work. So do you have an idea, the direction you'd like to take this in, or how you'd like this to become a career for yourself?
I'd like to work on automotives and like custom works because I watched shows on that when I was younger, and I thought it was really cool. I don't really want to be working on the same piece over and over every day, so production line is not for me. Okay. Obviously, I have to start somewhere, so I might start in a shop doing production, but in the future, I'd like to maybe have my own company.
So you're an entrepreneur, you're entrepreneurial minded, you've got ambition, and it sounds like you're creative.
Yeah, I'm very creative.
So you want to almost invent as you go, or
yeah, well, I'd like to create my own things, and like obviously with internet now, like you can see a lot of different ideas. So I get some ideas from there, and then sometimes I mix ideas and it just creates something new. And like I just want to be able to experiment and figure out what I really want to make in the future, and then I want to be able to build a career off of that.
Very, very inspiring. Do you get to do like a personal project in this course, or?
Yeah, you get to do quite a few. We started sketching some out, but we haven't had a chance to do them. But so far, I've done a cube, which like we're not supposed to do until further on in our program, but I wanted to make one for like sentimental reasons. So the teachers let me and like just experiment, and they let me practice, and it was really fun.
Now, is a cube like a higher level of skill required for that intricacy, or?
Well, it depends how you want to build it. If you don't really care what it looks like, then it's not really that complicated. But if you want to have like nice even edges, then yeah, you have to be able to round off your edges, and you have to be able to reproduce the same weld multiple times. So it takes a lot of practice. Okay,
that's where the finesse and the real like master comes in.
Yeah. Okay. Like if I had the cube with me right now, all the edges, they're all the same. It's like really, it's nice to look at. Like when you look at it, there's like a sense of satisfaction. And I think that's what I like about welding is when you get it to look nice, it's like it's really pretty.
It's yeah, like you said, satisfying.
Yeah.
You've made a piece of art.
Yeah, pretty much. And like some people actually get to do that with like TIG, because TIG with like your gases that you use, you get different colors on your weld, and it's really cool to look at, and that's kind of what I want to do in the future.
That makes me think like a sense of almost like firing, like in ceramics, how you change your finish on your, you can do that with metals.
Like it's just depending on how much gas you put and then your heat and how fast you go, you get like different colors. Like you get the purples and the blues, and like it looks really nice.
I'm getting a sense of alchemy in this. Like it's really wild. Are you changing the oxygen level there?
Yeah, you're basically sending out a jet of oxygen, which is what actually cuts it. So like right now it's just heating it up, and then if I press it shoots out oxygen.
Okay, I see the flame changes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so it concentrates the flame when you press the oxygen. Yeah. Did you realize how much alchemy and artistry was involved with welding? I, for one, had no idea. Roxane takes us next on a tour of the welding shop and introduces us to different types of skills and ways of welding, such as MIG, flux core, and stick. All new to me. Let's check it out. Here we go on the VT Effect. Okay, so we're here in the welding shop. What's going on here?
So right now, the corner that we're in, we're with most of the booths where we can do MIG, flux core, and stick, which are the major welding that we do. And then we also have a bunch of big tools around us, which are like drill presses. They look pretty scary, but they're actually really fun to use. You can't stick your finger in it.
Or you really don't want to.
Yeah, you really don't want to get your finger caught in it or your hair caught in it because it's going to hurt. But other than that, in this corner, there's not really anything intimidating. There's just a lot of cables going on. It looks scary, but it's really not that hard to understand. And then if we look over there, there's a different type of booth. That's for TIG welding, which is the one I mentioned before with all the colors. And then we also have bigger tools over there, which is like a shear, which cuts the metal, and a bending press, which obviously bends the metal. In the center, we have some cutting tables where we can cut with oxyacetylene, which is with a torch. And then more on this side, we have working tables with all our cubbies, which have all our tools, because everybody gets a different set of tools, and you're responsible for your own tools.
I noticed you're wearing your glasses and I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, so safety, that's a big part of this.
Even if there's no machines running, we're still technically supposed to have our glasses on, because if somebody throws something, or even if it's like across the room that there's like a grinder running, if that disc breaks, it can fly over and it can hurt you. So like, I don't know if you saw on the door, but we have a sign and there's like a grinding disc through the glasses. It's scary, but I mean, welding is a scary job. If you're not going to feel comfortable in a scary job, it's not for you. It's like welding is a very dangerous job. You're working with fire, very hot materials, heavy materials. Sometimes you're working like at very high, you're working very high. Or sometimes you're working underwater. Like it's dangerous. And there's also there's a lot of electricity going on with the machines.
Right. Metal conducts as well,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So safety is really important. We wear boots, steel-toe boots. We need cotton clothes, 100% cotton, because if you get...
no synthetic.
Yeah, because if you have synthetic, it will melt onto your skin. It will shrink and melt onto your skin, so you don't want that. Normally you wear a coat, because this is what happens if you don't. You get a bunch of holes in your clothes.
Is that from like acid, or is that
it's
metal
all sparks.
shards? And
sparks, and then eventually it goes through and it actually hurts.
What about your hair?
You need to be careful, because if it gets in the way, you could cut it. If it's in the drill, it could rip out.
Right.
And you could probably catch it on fire too. So obviously you don't want to have loose hair.
These are all very important tips.
Yeah. You probably don't want to wear any jewelry. Earrings would be okay as long as they're not dangling, but jewelry, if it's out, it could be dangerous. You need gloves, obviously. You're working with hot stuff. You don't want to touch it. And even with gloves, you normally pick up your pieces with tools so that you don't burn through your gloves.
Right. Yes, safety is rather important in welding and fitting, as I soon learned. You need your glasses on, your steel-toed boots, your hair pulled back, and you need really great spatial awareness. You're working alone, but in a team setting, and there's fire, gas, flames, sparks involved. You gotta have your wits about you. Let's get back to Roxane here in the shop, where she tells us a bit about the program itself and how to make it your own.
I'd just put my music in and I'd start welding, and like the day would just go by, and it was like I'd look at the time and be like, oh my god, it's already break time. And it was like sometimes I wanted to just like stay even longer, because it's just time just flies by and you're just in your bubble. It's like you work as a team, but you still get your own personal space. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's nice to be able to work and have somebody working next to you, even though you're working on your own different things.
I guess that's the beauty of working in a shop. Do you have work experience built into this program?
Yeah, at the end of the program, you have, I think it's 3 weeks of stage that you have to do. There's other ways of doing it. Like some people go to work for 2 days and then they come to school for 3 days. That's a different program that you can do. You have to work during the course to like complete it, but
it sounds like you can kind of make it your own, so it works for you.
You can definitely like personalize your program depending on like the hours you need. It's really fun to be able to just like get treated like adults, even though we're teenagers just trying to learn.
But you're also showing up as an adult.
Yeah.
Like as a responsible learner who's ready to like take this seriously and like invest yourself.
Yeah, you obviously can't show up thinking that you're just going to spend all your free time here. If you're going to come here, like you need to actually be able to work, but you can still have like fun and be like relaxed while learning to do the work.
Sounds brilliant.
It's really fun.
You're listening to Roxane Pépin here on the VT Effect, a podcast featuring women in the trades. And this is all about welding and fitting. We're going to get back to Roxane with the final part of this interview and hear what she's planning for the future, her sense of accomplishment, what this program's given to her, and words of advice for people perhaps considering the trades. Here we go. Learning this welding and fitting, this trade, has it made you feel more accomplished or confident or strong in yourself?
Well, I mean, there's definitely some things that made me feel like definitely satisfied with myself and like proud that I can actually accomplish something like that. So like today I had a big test and like it's like a test that you have to pay to do, and like there's an inspector that comes and like looks at your pieces and you have to do it in a certain amount of time and like a certain way. And like the feeling that you get once he says that you passed is like you just feel so happy and so relieved that you're able to do it, even under like so much stress.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously different people have different types of stress. So like some people might have been like less stressed out than I was, but I was stressed because I was like, he's bending the part that I just welded. Is it gonna hold or is it gonna crack? And like it's that machine right there. Like it pushes down into your piece, and like I can show you a piece. Your part is like perfectly straight when you start, and it ends up in the shape of a U.
And this is thick metal. It looks almost a centimeter thick or just under?
3/8 thick.
Okay.
So I don't know how much that is in centimeters, but it's pretty thick metal. Obviously, you can't bend it with your hands, so there's a lot of force, and you have to, during the test, you have to be able to stop and start your weld again, which normally, if you didn't do it properly, it's just going to crack. So that's what I'm saying is when he says that you passed, it's like a good feeling to know that like I'm able to weld so well that it can go under such intense strength and like stress on the piece, and it still holds. It's really like
satisfying.
You feel proud.
Empowering. This is amazing. So if you were speaking to someone, either someone who was considering the trade or specifically a woman who was considering going into welding, what would you have for advice for them?
Just do it. If you don't like it, you can always do something else after. So try it. If you don't like it, you can change. And you can also do different trades, which would all combined will open up more doors for you. So just try it and don't be scared. Like if you're scared of the guys, don't worry about them. Just do your own thing, and like they're not a problem.
And so do you feel confident about your future?
Yeah.
I can see it on your face. Look at that smile. Yeah. Way to go. Congratulations, Roxane.
Thank you.
You so much for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for tuning in to the VT Effect podcast series. I'm Holly Bailey, thanking you for joining us as we explore and immerse ourselves into the trades and the women and people who are exploring these exciting career pathways. Catch you next time.